dedicated to the martyrs in India's war of freedom. You don't have to be so angry, though. I was only wondering.
You know, this is armchair punditry. What if this? What if that? What if lions and tigers had prowled the streets of Kolkata?
That's not exactly speculation. The Bengal tiger is famous. And he did, in fact, live in Calcutta. He took charge of Calcutta University in 1907, 50 years after it was established in 1857. And he transformed it completely. He is none other than Sir Ashutosh Mukhopadhyay.
And what of the lion?
The lion? Ah, we also call him the Shingho, don't we? So, what about Kali Prashanna Sena or Kali Prashanna Shingho, who not only translated the Mahabharata, but also wrote Hutum Pachar Noksha about me?
Right. And rhinos? What about them?
Oh, the rhinos. They are the ones whose skins could not be penetrated by the teachings of Kolkata's great men. They abused Ram Mohan Roy. And as for Vidyasagar, they made up satirical songs about him and sang them everywhere, which he tolerated, as it happens.
Personally, I think these are the precise things that demonstrate how far ahead of the times these great men were. Vivekananda had to hear that he was no sage, for he visited the land of Christians and ate meat. And yet, it was he who made India proud with his speech in Chicago, right? His Guru Ramakrishna was even told he was illiterate. But he attracted the best minds with his natural wisdom and deep knowledge of religion. It was he who said, Joto mot, toto poth. There are as many methods as there are viewpoints. He was referring not just to different faiths, but also to the philosophy of Kolkata's flowing life.
We don't care for criticism. Even Rabindranath Tagore had to take it. Apparently, all his writings are convoluted, and he founded Shantiniketan with unclear intentions, etc., etc. But his Nobel Prize is still the first line of my poetry of pride. I may have been displaced from the status of India's capital city in 1911, but just 2 years later came a crown whose luster is never to be diminished. The Nobel Committee said, Rabindranath Tagore is being awarded the prize because of his profoundly sensitive, fresh and beautiful verse. He was the first Indian to get the Nobel.
Oh, can you imagine? 6 Nobel laureates from one city and in 5 different fields at that. In 1902, Ronald Ross won the Nobel Prize for Medicine. 1930, the Nobel for Physics went to C.V. Raman, who conducted his research in Kolkata for the Raman effect. In 1979, Mother Teresa got the Nobel Peace Prize, and in 1998, Amartya Sen for economics. And in 2019, Abhijit Banerjee was awarded the Nobel for work done in the area of alleviating global poverty.
Not that getting Nobel was the last word. Scientist Jagadish Chandra Bose may not have won it, but he shines bright in my sky. His genius stretched from the discovery of life in plants to the invention of the radio. Then there was Prafullo Chandra Ray, the first non-European to be honored with the Chemical Landmark Award by the Royal Chemical Society of England. There was Satyendranath Bosu, standard bearer of Bose-Einstein statistics, after whom the boson particle is named. There was Prashanta Chandra Moholanovich, father of the practice of statistics in India, architect of the Planning Commission, whose birthday is now observed as the National Statistics Day.
I hate to puncture your balloon, But this hallowed center of science is also a hotbed of unscientific fads, dear sir. In 1857, Kolkata saw the craze of the return of the dead. Some said all the people who have died this year will be back on the night of Kali Pujo. Others claimed no, all those who have died in the past 10 years will be back on the 15th day of the month of Kartik. There was a commotion all over the city. Many people began to wait for their dead relatives. Songs were composed too. The dead people are back. I saw them floating in Ranaghat. Scrawny neck and swollen belly, wobbling like a lump of jelly.
Guilty as charged. The 1979 rumors were no less sensational. The American satellite Skylab was going to collapse any day. People kept staring at the sky. Many of them actually walked around in helmets all day. Well, some pieces of Skylab did fall. But that was in Australia, in and around Perth and some other places. Nowhere near Calcutta.
Oh, yeah, but the madness I remember best was when Ganesh began to drink one afternoon in 1995. Temple Ganeshas, calendar Ganeshas, hole-in-the-wall Ganeshas, no one was left out. Apparently, they were all drinking milk as though their lives depended on it. Everyone ran headlong to their nearest Ganeshas with milk. Being left out of this miracle would have meant falling short on their quota of good deeds.
Ah, that's what we call DeRosio's Phantom Punch. Do you know him? Before your time, a 17-year-old Anglo-Indian, a mere boy, a teacher of English at Hindu College, who told the students, argue, validate, use your reason, challenge tradition. And his students, well, it's better to call them disciples, fanned out far and wide as young Bengal, trying to reform society. This too happened in Calcutta.
Please, I am perfectly aware of the story. And just like they tried to shake up the Brahmin orthodoxy to reform society, you had the young men and women in the 1970s who tried to annihilate the system with their violent Naxal revolution. But this time, the reaction to bombs and bullets was much sharper because politics had become much more complex. It was truly awful. The nights were filled with the explosions of bombs and the rumble of police jeeps, God. And when the sun rose, I could see the corpses of all those brilliant young men floating along the Ganga. Gallons of fine hot blood were spilled on your body, Kolkata, and ideology and tradition were disguised in new masks.
As we say, Chotomot Totopot. The Naxal revolution is a source of terror for some people and of romantic nostalgia for others. There are even sly smiles about the slogan, China's chairman is our chairman. But can you tell me why someone here would not be inspired by the Chinese leader? Kolkata is a center of global citizenship, isn't it?
There. I agree. Hindu College is such a powerful statement of that. Imagine saying one must learn the English language, saying one must understand Western culture and meld it with one's own back then. Nowhere else in India could a school have been set up with these objectives. I can proudly say that in 1817, the British and the Bengalis joined hands to start an institution without which there would have been no Bengal Renaissance.
True. Bengal Renaissance. It was beyond belief. I get exhausted just thinking about all that Tagore alone did. They stuffed 10 geniuses into each member of the family. you have Dijendranath Tagore translating Meghdutam from Sanskrit to Bangla, writing books on philosophy in Bangla, improvising a Bangla version of shorthand, and even writing a book on making boxes. You have Shotendranath, who not only becomes the first Indian ICS officer, but also takes his wife abroad in that day and age. Here's Jyotirindranath, music composer, painter, playwright, director, actor. Then there's Debendranath, dictating an entire book on the Brahmo faith in just 3 hours. Gaganendranath shows himself to be an artist extraordinaire, making cartoons as well as cubist paintings. And Abanindranath's drawings and stories both turn out to be wonders of Bengali culture.
My heart is with the Rays. Whom to start with? Upendra Kishore Roy Chaudhary played the violin, built the framework for children's literature in Bangla, published a magazine for children, and revolutionized half-tone printing with amazing inventions. His son, Shukumar Rai, stunned everyone with his comic verse and prose while talking of everything from Plato to Turgenev at nonsense club meetings. You know what I think? I suspect they used to stir the finest things from the East and the West into a glass and drink it every morning.
Well, we've always had this power to synthesize. In 1835, the medical college was established to educate locals in the techniques of Western medicine. Then later, dancer Uday Shankar joined hands with the Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova to create his famous ballet, Radha Krishna. In 1955, Shukumar Rai's son Satyajit Ray single-handedly ushered in the new wave to Indian cinema with his spotted Panchali. He was very clear that he could never have created his own grammar of filmmaking without having watched Hollywood movies. And yet, foreigners discovered a pure Indianness in his cinema. This ability to acquire, assimilate, and absorb runs in my veins, you know.
Oh, yes. Ray electrified both the East and the West equally. No wonder he got an Oscar for Lifetime Achievement in 1992. He had to accept it in his hospital bed.
But what you may not know is that earlier, the same year, Subrata Mitro received the Eastman Kodak Lifetime Achievement Award for Excellence in Cinematography. Who was Subrata Mitro, you may ask? Well, he was the cameraman of Ray's earlier films. It's most unfair that he never got the fame he deserved as one of the world's best cinematographers.
Excuse me, but can you seriously please explain your obsession with unsung heroes? I can never decide whether you're being generous or being overly critical all the time. Every time the world thinks someone from your city is worthy of the finest honor, you Kolkatans will produce someone else at once. Oh, Mr. So-and-so was just as brilliant but never got his due.
But then why shouldn't we? The people of Kolkata know how to celebrate winners. We also know how to admire the ones who were left behind. We don't ignore the ones who didn't win the prize, who died without fame. Because we know how to measure an artist's or a thinker's worth. Not by how much gold they have gathered, but by how much gold they have scattered. And so, Jivanananda Das is as immortal as Rabindranath Tagore. Ritik Ghatak will live on as long as Satyajit Ray does. Badul Sarkar as long as Shambhu Mitra. Kamal Kumar Mujumdar as long as Sunil Gangopadhyay. We'll revere Pankaj Rai, but we'll honor Shute Banerjee too. We'll put Hemant Mukhopadhyay and Manna De and Shandha Mukherjee on a pedestal. We'll bow our heads to Suchitra Mitra and Konika Bandyopadhyay too. But we won't leave Nirmala Misra